All right, let's just get right to it. It's the big question, right? Is AI the ultimate project manager? Is it going to come for our jobs? Or are we going to have a machine making all the big calls, running the whole show? Okay, let's unpack that.
Well, the short answer, not quite. But, and this is a big but, our jobs are absolutely changing. Look, the best way to think about AI isn't that it's here to replace you. Think of it as your new toolkit, a really, really powerful one that's going to help you see around corners and communicate better than ever.
So inside this new toolkit, there are two main tools you really got to get a handle on. We're talking about machine learning and natural language processing. So let's break down what they are and, more importantly, how you can actually start using them.
Okay, first up, machine learning. I want you to think of this as the predictor. Seriously, its whole job is to sift through mountains of data to basically see into your project's future. It's all about making a solid prediction or a clear classification.
So how does it actually do that? Well, at its heart, machine learning uses these complex algorithms to find hidden connections in all your project data. You know, those subtle patterns that you or I might totally miss. And then it uses those patterns to make one single, really accurate prediction.
Now, I know what you might be thinking. Hey, I've got simulation software for this. And yeah, you do, but this is different. See, a simulation shows you a whole range of possibilities, what could happen. Machine learning is way more focused. It looks at all that data and gives you one single prediction of what is most likely to happen. That's the game changer right there, the accuracy.
But how does this thing actually get smarter? How does it learn? Well, there are basically four main ways. Let's run through them. First, you've got what's called supervised learning. Honestly, the best way to picture this is like you're teaching the AI with flashcards. You give it a giant pile of data where all the answers are already labeled right from the start. And its job is to just learn the patterns that connect the question to the right answer.
So think about how this applies to our world. You could feed an AI tons of data from, say, hundreds of your past projects, each one already labeled success or failure. The AI just churns through it all and starts to learn the hidden factors, the little things that led to one outcome over the other. And just like that, you've got a tool that can look at your current project and give you a pretty solid prediction of its chances for success. I mean, before you've even really started.
Okay, next up is unsupervised learning. This is kind of the opposite. Here, you just dump a massive pile of data in front of the AI, but with zero labels. You don't give it any answers. Its job is to figure it all out on its own, to find the hidden patterns, sort things, and group similar stuff together.
Like, imagine you throw a big basket of mixed fruit at an AI. Apples, bananas, oranges, and just say, sort this. It's going to look at the color, the shape, the size, and start making its own little piles. Now, for us project managers, this is huge for risk management. You can dump all your project risks into the system, and it'll start clustering them for you, showing you which risks are related. You might suddenly see that a whole group of them share one common cause, meaning you can knock them all out with a single strategy. Pretty cool, right?
Then you've got the best of both worlds, semi-supervised learning. It's exactly what it sounds like, a mix. You give the AI just a tiny bit of labeled data to get it started, and it uses that as a roadmap to figure out a much, much larger pile of unlabeled data. Here's a practical example. Say you manually label just one task in your project plan as high complexity. The AI can then use that single example to scan the entire rest of the plan and flag every other task that looks similar. Instantly, you have a map showing you exactly where your team might need extra support or a subject matter expert. And last but not least, there's reinforcement learning. Now, this one is the most like how we humans learn, basically through trial and error. The algorithm tries something, and if it works, it gets a virtual reward. If it fails, it learns not to do that again. You know, what we call experience.
You actually see this all the time. Think about your phone's keyboard. When it finally learns that you're trying to type a weird name and stops correcting it, that's reinforcement learning in action. So imagine applying that power to your projects. An issue pops up, and the AI instantly scans a database of every similar problem your company has ever faced. It then shows you what worked and, more importantly, what didn't.
All right, that was tool number one. Let's grab the second tool out of our toolkit, natural language processing, or NLP. If machine learning is the predictor, then NLP is the communicator. Its entire purpose is to teach machines to actually understand human language with all its messiness and nuance. Imagine one of your team members sends this message in a chat after a big kickoff meeting. As a human manager, you read that and you sense some concern, right? But an NLP tool, it can scan thousands of messages just like this and actually quantify that feeling. It performs what's called sentiment analysis, looking for words like unclear,
confused, or frustrated to give you a real-time dashboard of your team's morale.
And it goes way beyond just checking morale. I mean, what if you could have an AI automatically scan your scope documents for errors or contradictions? Or instantly translate a chat with your team in another country? What if you could just ask your computer, out loud, hey, what are the top 3 risks on the new project? That's the power of NLP. It takes all that messy, unstructured human language and turns it into data you can act on.
Okay, so we've got our 2 main tools, the predictor and the communicator. We know what they do on their own, but now let's talk about what happens when you put them together, because that is where things get incredibly powerful. But it's also where we run into some really serious risks that we have to talk about. So when you combine machine learning's ability to see patterns with NLP's ability to understand language, well, you get generative AI. This is the engine behind stuff like ChatGPT. But imagine, instead of the whole internet, you aim that power at your own company's internal data. You could literally ask it, how can we cut a week from this project schedule without blowing the budget? And get an answer based on every single project your company has ever done.
But, and this is a huge but, here's the first major trap. The AI learns from our past. And that means it learns everything from our past, including our past mistakes and, yep, our past biases.
Let me give you a very real example. If your company's historical data shows that, say, construction projects have always been led by men, an AI trained on that data is going to learn that pattern as a rule. So when you ask it for a recommendation for the next project lead, it might suggest a man, not because he's the most qualified, but simply because it's repeating the historical bias. This isn't just a tech problem, it's a serious ethical issue, and as project managers, we are on the front lines of it.
The second big danger is just plain neglect. An AI model that you set up and then just forget about? It's like an elevator that never gets a service check. Sure, it works great at first, but over time, without new data and constant maintenance, it gets outdated, it gets less accurate, and eventually, it can become a real liability.
And all of this really brings us to the single most important takeaway. AI is not some autonomous manager that's ready to take your job. Think of it as an incredibly powerful assistant, one that's here to amplify your expertise. But it needs you. It needs your guidance, your context, and your oversight to actually be effective and to be safe.
So that leaves us with one last, really big question to chew on. As these tools become a bigger and bigger part of our daily work, who's ultimately on the hook for making sure they're used safely and ethically? Is it the people who build them? Is it the company? Or is it us, the project managers, using them every day? That's something we're all going to have to figure out.